Hey man, how's it going?
Howdy doody, not too bad. Not how are you?
Good, good. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. How's life? Pretty
Oh,
normal.
not too bad. It's been kind of sunny here the last 3 days. Not today, but a few days before that, it's been sunny where I've actually like, whoa, there's sun in Vancouver.
No,
What is this? The apocalypse? But no, it was
no
like it
kidding.
was a nice yellow sun, not a red or orange sun, which happened to be a long time ago, and it was freaky because it was orange the entire day. But that was due
Oh,
to
okay.
smoke in the air, not due to
Yeah. Those
monsters,
damn forest
aliens,
fires.
zombies,
Yeah,
or dinosaurs.
right. Well, glad that your days have been good. Yeah, it's been sunny here as well for us, so that's always been nice. Although, as you've mentioned before, it's normally pretty sunny here.
Yeah, even when it
But
rains out there, it's sunny. Like that,
it
like
can
like
still be kind of
yeah.
sunny. It can be lighter. But yeah, welcome back everyone to Bite My Shiny Metal Cast. Here we go, season 2, episode 19, Mother's Day. Mitchell, I can't believe it. We were so close to the end of season 2 as it was broadcast on TV all
Proper
those
season
years
two.
ago. Proper season 2, that's right. Yeah, I guess we'll get into it. This is a great episode, lots to talk about. But yeah, just no cold open or whatever. Just go right into the opening credits. Larva tested, pupa approved. Right? This is like children tested and parents approved type of thing. So a little fun joke there.
Ah,
And
is that what a butterfly or a bee would be called? Is pupa? I thought that was the middle state.
larva pupa is like could be for flies, could be for a lot of insects, a lot of
Okay.
different
Well,
things. Any of
because
the baby
because I'm a
ones.
millennial and I grew up with Pokemon, I'm thinking Caterpie,
Yeah, no.
Metapod, Butterfree kind of thing. I'm like, they're missing the third one
Well,
because
that
I
would
thought
be
the.
well, I guess I think a cocoon is a pupa. So
Okay.
you could say the same. Yeah,
See,
that's
yeah, I
true. So
was right. I
larva
was
is
right
just
then.
the baby stage. Yeah, that's true. So we get into our episode with the opening on the crew. They're
Oh,
watching the news, and we get an reintroduction, of course, to Marbo and Linda. And
I love
I think
Morbo.
this. Well, I was just gonna say this is Morbo's first mention of his race planning to invade Earth, which they have never done yet. We're
I thought they
hoping.
did that with the first the Omicrons when we first saw the Omicrons because that was a whole thing when he
Did
was
he
a
say
newscaster.
did he say something about the Earth being taken over? He's like, my race will take over them or something. Did he say? I
I
don't think
don't
he
know
did.
actually. I don't. It's hard to remember these things because there's so
Oh,
many episodes, and I did
I'm
like that
pretty sure
one,
they don't.
but
I remember this being like they're talking about a baseball game, and Linda mentions that one of the hitters or something got out because his knee hurt or his knee
oh
got
yeah,
hit
okay,
out,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
so he's like, oh, so humans have weak knees. This my race will find this very interesting, and then Linda. Like she just laughs. So I love that. I love that she just never takes him seriously. But anyway, it turns out to be Mother's Day very soon, or maybe it's that day actually. And the mom's friendly robot company and the head person mom, right, played by Tress MacNeille,
Love
wonderful.
her. I love
God,
her as mom.
gosh, she's one of the best characters of the show, man. Like I can't help it. She's wonderful, and for whatever reason, her robots are doing a nice get together thing for her. So robots from all over, I guess the city, but maybe the world as well. But they're all coming to show their appreciation for mom for Mother's Day, including Bender, who happens to have bought a bunch of gifts to everybody's surprise, and he even gets her like this little
Key
cheap
word there.
card or
He
whatever.
bought them. He bought them
Bought
because
them
there was
exactly.
a whole
Steal
joke
them. Yeah.
with like, oh hey Bender, yeah Leela, where'd you steal these from? I didn't steal them. I bought them.
Yeah. And they're all like, "Oh my God, what'd you get her?" And then
Yeah,
he
that's how
reads
much
this
he loves his
card.
mom.
And,
That's how much he
yeah.
loves his mom.
So it's something funny because like you mentioned this a couple of episodes ago. Remember when in the Deep South and Bender's like hating on Fry for the whole episode? Like he just has like these underlying things about like he doesn't help him with the air and he squeezes him and he mocks him and all of this stuff. But
Yeah,
then when he thinks that they're leaving Fry forever, he's like sad. He's like super emotional. Bender's like
it's one of those
overly
things.
emotional. Right.
Yeah.
But like Bender is overly emotional for his mom, which is hilarious because like, I think they've met, right? Like when they did the first time we met mom.
Uh, I don't think they properly met because that was the one where Fry had like $5 million, whatever it was, right?
Right. The billion. Oh, right. It was kind of just like
A fish full of $1 billion. Is that what was that what it was
a
called?
fishful of dollars. Just a
Fishful
fishful
of
of
dollars. Sorry,
dollars.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, no, that's you're right, because he just does this and then the sons take him and then they pretend to be Pacinos? Mr. Pacino's or whatever.
Yeah, Mr. Pacino. Yeah.
Mr. Pacino, and then they steal all of his money because of his bank card, right? And then yeah, you're right. Maybe Bender never actually.
That's when we, the audience, met her.
That's right. So anyway, that's a little ways back, but in any case, Bender loves his mom, or loves mom, right? As many of these robots do. So they're all going to do this, and so Bender also has this little greeting card, like I mentioned, I don't actually know who plays her, but I think it's one of the
little.
Is it Lauren Tom? Yeah, is it Lauren Tom again? High pitched voice.
I don't think so.
Kind of reminds me of Tara Strong, actually, but I don't think it's Tara Strong.
No, I don't think Tara Strong did any. She might have done maybe a guest thing on this, but I highly doubt that she did anything for this.
Right. Or the actress who plays Hubert, but I don't think so.
It's voiced by someone called Nicole St. John.
There we go.
Don't know who that is.
Yeah, I think she's only in the one episode, or just very very.
She's been in 4 episodes, but she did Orphan Sally, the one with the third ear. I think that's her. And then Princess Num Num, which I think that might be from one of the comedy one.
Inagata Dalila or whatever it was. Yes, yeah. When he goes to the.
She's an other credit voice actor,
yes,
so she probably has a whole bunch of background stuff. She probably has done a whole bunch of little stuff, but the 3 ones that have been named, at least on this website, are the Greeting Card, Orphan Sally, and Princess Num Num.
If you listen to her voice and those characters, they sound very similar.
Very similar.
Yeah. So in any case, Bender's bought all these gifts, and so he has Leela and Fry bring them to Mom's Friendly Robot Factory. Where they're all supposed to meet up, and until this time, I guess it's going to be like sometime in the afternoon. They have a set time, and tons of robots, tons of gifts, and Tinny Tim shows up. His gift gets crushed by Bender, then he gets crushed by the Crushinator, who I love when the Crushinator just shows up, and it's just like some random pink robot with wheels, or like with those treads, and just pulverizes.
She's rarely in it, and when she is in it, they don't abuse her too much, her uses. But I love it, because the other one's like, would you like some smashed chicken? Yeah, okay. Bam, 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 bam. Right. It's like a whole raw chicken, and she just smashed it and then just shoved it in Fry's mouth. And he's like, ooh, this is not bad. It's like, that shouldn't work.
And while they wait, Bender recommends that they go to the Robot History Museum or something, but it's just one of those things. And they see the Vincent Van Gogh bot, who was crazy enough to have ears installed because he was built without ears.
Oh, there's a whole Vince Van Gogh. There's a crazy story about like how he died and stuff like that. Like, because he died from a gun wound, and a lot of people think that he shot himself or something like that. But there's evidence that says that there was kids that accidentally shot him, but he liked the kids because he was a loner. So like, these kids that kind of
didn't become famous until way after his career.
Yeah.
Until he died.
It's just he has a weird history, man. So I don't think he was insane. He's just unfortunate, like one of the most unfortunate people.
Tragic. He's a tragic figure. Yeah, he's a very tragic figure in history. The real Vincent Van Gogh, not Van Gogh bot. We don't know much about Van Gogh bot.
No, I'm going to guess it's a similar story. It was just Van Gogh bot.
Except that he had his ears installed, not cut them off, right? So,
yeah, he had ears installed, so then he cut them off.
And then I think you and we both always chuckle at this joke as the janitor who's just standing there, the wax janitor, but he's just standing there, and Fry mistakes him for somebody, and
it's a wax museum for robots, and the robot janitor is made out of wax.
And he's taking a nap, so he's super still. He's standing up for whatever reason, but he's taking a nap. And then when Fry asks him, and then he's like super defensive, right? He's just like, it's like, yeah, I am a robot. What's it to you? He's like, oh, I thought you were one of the wax ones. I am a wax robot. What's it to you? So I love that. Yeah. I think that was a very funny little bit of humor just in the middle. It's like so random, but it's so good.
Oh, I'm pretty sure there's people that when they did the writing and stuff like that, I'm pretty sure they had like the story writers and stuff like that. And then the story would be like, okay,
we need a joke or
Anthony,
something.
I need a little joke here about being in a museum, wax museum full of robots or something like that.
What if there's a robot janitor and he's like made of wax and he's standing still or something?
It's like, that's perfect.
Perfect. Okay, we'll try that.
Give me a 20-second thing about that.
Hey, John DiMaggio, can you make your voice like slightly different?
Yeah.
just a little bit. Yeah.
I don't know how it works, but that's how I assume it works, because like it has nothing to do with the plot whatsoever. This whole thing is just
nothing.
Because like
it's literally just a joke in the episode, right? Yeah.
Yeah. This was back in the day. where there was 20 some episodes of things rather than nowadays, which is like 8, maybe 10, possibly 13 episodes of a season. You do half as much work for twice the pay, and people still complain about it. Blah 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 blah. Right. So I'm assuming they're like, oh crap, we only have maybe, because at this point, because it's on TV, 30 minutes of television, but you need to have commercials, so that's about 8 minutes ish. So okay, you only have 22 minutes of episodes. Okay, well, turns out we need an extra 30 seconds because one of our advertisers pulled out, or one of the other ones did 30 seconds longer than they should, so we have to pull another one. So we need an extra 30 seconds.
We need to fill this slot.
Yeah, we need an extra 30 seconds.
Joke or something. Yeah. Well, it's the same. Like later in the episode, we hear like Morbo's Vermin of the Week, and he's just talking about third graders, like something like that. Like that's another little joke.
Yeah, it could be another thing. It's like, oh crap, we only did 19 minutes, so we have to put in 3 more minutes. Three and a half more minutes of material. Yeah. Well, we can put a joke here, we can do something here. So that's just what I think when I see stuff like that. It's just like, it has nothing to do with the plot. It's a fun joke. Let's just put in 30 seconds. They probably got an intern to do it or something like that. I don't know.
Maybe. Well, I also noticed that this happens a lot more in the Fox run of, like, the original run of Futurama than it does in the Comedy Central run, I would say. There's a lot more, even though they're similar length episodes, I think that there's more of those.
I'd agree with you.
Jokes here. So I'd have to
look at it for that purpose, though. I'd have to look at it for that purpose, because as soon as you pointed it out, he's like, oh yeah, there's a whole bunch of these little blips here and stuff that don't really quite.
That's true.
They're just there for fun jokes and stuff like that. Like this next bit here with see through the eyes of a bender.
So this one I think is like, it is definitely a throwaway gag, but it's still part of like the robot thing, because it's connected to Bender, right? And he's
yeah.
But then it does. I was actually going to mention it does actually raise a lot of questions. Like, so when Leela puts it on and she sees like target, and then she looks at Fry, says pose his friend and leave and ditch somewhere later. I'm thinking like, does that mean that Bender's like maybe gonna like kill Fry in the future?
He technically did, or at least he thought he did.
Oh, that's true, but that wasn't because of him though, and that's way in the future. But no, fair enough.
Well, there's a whole theory. I think we might have talked about it on our first episode. When Bender's like, I'm not gonna bend these bars because you want me to, and he's like, oh, he gets electrocuted, and then he kind of people think he got reprogrammed there. But if this is like the see through the eyes of any Bender unit, they're all jerks. And we've only met 2. We only technically met 2 in the whole series.
And Flexo's not a jerk at all. He's just kind of has bad humor.
Oh, he's a jerk, but he apologizes for it. It's like, you're an idiot. Nah, I love you.
Yeah. But he never takes anything personally, I guess. Like, whereas Bender's like super personal for everything, right?
Bender's very selfish, very self-absorbed, as we will see after this little thing of here with Mom saying, "You want to see who my favorite robot is?"
And it's a mirror.
It turns around, it's a mirror, and nobody else look in this mirror.
Exactly. He's definitely obsessed with being the best, or being the most favorite of the robots, right? But he's like that with everybody who comes into contact with him that he cares about, right? Like even with Fry, with Leela, with all these people, but specifically with Mom in this episode. So he sees the mirror, and then there's a cut to. I love how they do this, because I love her, but as soon as you have the mother in the mirror thing, like, who's my favorite robot? I love all the robots equally. And then it cuts right to the real Mom being like, God, these robots make me sick to my ass. Like, she's taking off her fat suit and everything. She's just so good, man.
I saw this video on the internet, and someone had taken all the voice clips from Mom and put them in Cora, and played her as old Toph talking to her kids, and I love it. I love it.
Yes, I watched perfectly. That too. That is almost perfect as well. It's hilarious. Yeah. Makes me.
It's just such a great thing, because like I believe that all mothers are a little resentful of their kids, but like they love their kids, but they all resent them.
In all of the episodes with Mom, there's like her phrasing that she says, like when she says to her kids, like, jam a bastard in it, you ass, or jam an ass in it, you bastard. Like, she switches it or something. But then another one, like in here, so she's like, make me sick to my ass. Step a crap in it, you bastard, I think is one thing she says, like in the past or something. And then there's another here. So it turns out like she's obviously she's evil. She hates Mother's Day. And the reason that she hates Mother's Day, and we'll get to that in a minute, but one of her phrases, and she says, like, if I ever see that bastard again, I'll stick a squirrel in him. Like, it's so specific. And I just love how she says these words. It's just so funny. But in any case, her and her sons are taking the gifts. They're crushing them. They're destroying them and turning them into something where they can send them off to something. And then she takes the money from the cards. And then
through a cash magnet. I love how it's a cash magnet because it'll take the paper, not just the coins.
Yes,
it's literally all cash.
Literally, it knows money, right? And so it's working at full capacity. And it just turns out that Mom hates Mother's Day for anything. So she wants to make the robots with a remote control that she keeps in her bra. She can control the robots and make them rebel, so she can become like the overlord of the world. And we don't quite know why yet, but obviously to do something with Mother's Day. Something has happened. So she has all the robots gathered in the courtyard.
Yeah.
And there's a little funny joke here. I don't know if you caught this. So when she says, "Oh," and she's like in her like old
her mom's suit
or whatever, right?
Because the first time we see her in the mom suit, it's like this little like she opens it up like a cupboard and then steps out in a way. Yes. This time it's like this weird thing that goes into like her belt. But she doesn't have a belt. It's a little more futuresque.
Yes, it's kind of like a nano thing. Like it just kind of sucks up into her belt.
A sweet old granny versus not so sweet old granny.
Crazy tycoon old woman. So anyway, there's a joke like as she's doing that whole thing, she's like, "Oh, your mother won't be around forever," right? And then I don't know, did you recognize the robot that was down there? He just says like it's a Betamax, and he's like, "Oh, shush!" Like you won't be around forever because Betamaxes are clearly not around. Yeah. So I thought that was a fun little joke that they threw in there. So any case, yeah, your mom's
that's still a little bit before our time. Like I don't. That's a before VHS, right? That was before VHS, or is that cassette?
That's why it was in that, I think, is because it's no longer around even for that time, even for like the early 2000s. So fun little joke.
Old technology was best technology. It just wasn't efficient.
Right. But it's durable, lasts a long.
How was it durable? That Nokia phone that I had, I think I found it when I was back home or something like that. Like, and I think it still had power, but like barely. It was, I think we should make the Hubble telescope haul out of those things, the Nokia phones. Yeah.
So any case, no, it's okay. She states to everyone,
"Conquer Earth, you bastards!
Conquer Earth, you bastards!" And then she hits a button.
Goes all through the antenna.
Right? Yeah.
Right.
Right.
We forgot about that. So everyone thinks I put the antennas on the robots to make them look more sci-fi, which is a character thing that was put into thing. And then probably someone asked, why do they all have antennas? And then they maybe created this episode because of it, to justify it. Oh. So the reason why she made the antennas was that way she could push this button on this remote thing that was in her bra, like Anthony said. And when she would click rebel, I think there was a couple different buttons on it. So it wasn't just rebel. Here, let me see. I just want to pull up the thing right here.
Yeah.
Give gifts, tidy up world, rebel, serve man regular, serve man ironic. So there's 5 buttons.
And that's like a blink and you'll miss it kind of situation too. You have to pause it in order to even read those, right? Yeah, it's so good. So whoever's like thinking about that, they're like, this is a fun joke for me. I'm gonna put that in for me.
Yeah, at the beginning of this episode too, when they're right before they go into the robot museum, there's like a crowd of robots and everything. We would have to ask Tristan, who was on our last one, because he is a computer programmer. There was a couple of robots holding signs that looked like code. Like actual like code that you would type into a computer or something like that.
They're showing.
No, they had like signs that would like like if you would hold signs at a rally or whatever, right?
Oh, that's afterwards. That's when they're protesting.
No. It was before they went into the museum. It was just like a gathering. This was before they rebelled. This is before they rebelled.
So they're saying I love you, mom.
Yeah, like I love you, mom. Like stuff like that.
Yeah.
And
I know.
like
That's what that
means. It was codes. It was like coded and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it probably did mean that, but I think there was 2 that one was like actual code and the other one was like code I love mom and some other stuff, repeat something. So I'm not a computer programmer, so I don't know what they mean, but it probably does essentially mean I love mom, repeat, I love mom, repeat kind of thing.
Well, as you said that as well, because later as we see the rebellion start happening with all these robots, and they do actually start holding up signs like, like down with man, up with bots or whatever it was, and then there's even like 1010011 or whatever it was. Like they're actually chanting binary as well, so that could actually mean something. But you're right, without Tristan here, it's hard for us to even know unless we looked it up. But not a big deal. Just something with the robots. It's all good. But in any case, we cut back to after Mom has done this, and we cut back to the Planet Express crew, and they're back at the kitchen building. Yeah, in their kitchen. Fry's asking for coffee, and literally everything, I guess, in their place, including the stapler, is a robot or has a machine component in it that makes it susceptible to Mom's radio control with her controller. So the coffee machine acts out on Fry and like spits out coffee, saying, "There's
would you like coffee in your cream? Yeah, sure. Out of cream. Okay, what about coffee? Out of coffee. I think that's Tom Kenny who does this voice. SpongeBob.
I don't know if he was. I don't think so. I don't think he was credited for this. I think that's Billy West.
You know what? They're very similar.
Yeah, they have.
If I remember correctly, there was 3 people that went for Fry. I think Tom Kenny did, and then crap. He played Raphael in the original Ninja Turtles, but then played Donatello in the 3D one. What was his name?
Rob Paulson.
Rob Paulson. Love the guy. Great guy in real life too. He plays the Pinky in Pinky and the Brain.
That's right.
And
so
I think it was
each other quite well.
Yes, it was between what was his name again? Sorry.
Rob Paulson.
Rob and Billy. It was between those two, and I think Rob was like, you know what, he does a better job, and gave it to him. Or it was so close, and they're like, we're gonna go with Billy. He's like, it was a toss of a coin kind of thing. Right. I honestly don't know how it would be different if we had the Pinky voicing Fry.
Well, I think Rob Paulson was also in like a number of other, because Pinky and the Brain was still going on at that time as well.
Yeah, Animaniacs.
So I think there were some other shows going on with it, but I think Billy West was also on like Pinky and the Brain in some character form.
Oh, he did a whole bunch of
they're all over the place
at that time. Yeah, they were like the go-to people at the time. Yeah.
Exactly. So anyway, all the machines are
it was probably Billy West is what I'm saying.
I think it's Billy West, and all the machines are acting up for them. Leela and the toaster. And I wanted to ask, because what episode was that? I think it is the previous one we just did, when the professor said, he's like, I taught the toaster to feel love. Is that the one with Nibbler? That's the one with Nibbler, right? And they go down. And I'm just thinking, I think that's like the same toaster. So the toaster biting down on the toast because it's acting up is just like a bad dog, just like the dog in the toaster dog in the previous episode. So I wonder if that's a continuity thing. But in any case, that Leela's having problems with the toaster. Hermes is attacked by the stapler, which is hilarious. Amy's attacked by the hairdryer. And they're all dealing with everything, and then even the TV's like trying to leave or whatever. But the professor comes in to tell them like, oh yeah, the information that we want to know is on the TV. So they turn it on, they're watching it, and the news report says, yeah, robots all over the world are rebelling. Mom denies any involvement, obviously, as she would. And she blames the violence on TV. And of course, this is like a huge meta joke at the time as well, because a lot of parents were complaining about how violent, like Simpsons, Futurama, Family Guy, especially, like a lot of these shows,
but those were for like
they were doing.
Those are technically adult animation.
They are supposed to be adult animations, but
here's a little history about animation. It was always intended for adults at the beginning, and then somehow it was more targeted at kids. And then
the colors, right? Like everybody loves the colors. Everybody, like all the kids love the colors.
It's not even like that. Like even back in the day, like when Flintstones first came out, they did commercials about them smoking and stuff like that. Smoking isn't for kids. Even back then, it wasn't really for kids. And nowadays, if the Flintstones, they also didn't have the same rules and whatever and other bullshit
regulations.
Too.
Yeah, that's
regulations. Right. Yeah. And like you couldn't make the Flintstones do a smoking commercial nowadays for 2 reasons. No one knows who the Flintstones is, and it's cartoons, which are generally associated with kids nowadays, heavily generated. Not as much as it used to be, because we got shows like Rick and Morty and Bob's Burgers and all that stuff that are a little more adult orientated. But yeah, you just couldn't do that nowadays.
Yeah, no, I think animation just kind of it was pushed for kids, because I think Disney also did that very well throughout the years. Like they made those family friendly films. Warner Brothers with like Bugs Bunny, Looney Tunes, like all this kind of stuff. And they always had them specifically for kids. But then,
I think it just
a lot
became for kids. I don't know how.
yeah,
It just kind of got adapted for kids, and that kind of became the main thing. And now,
yeah.
yeah, what are your thoughts on adult animation in general? Like, I'm not talking about 18 plus. I'm just talking about not for kids.
No, I think that so actually I watched a video about somebody talking about this recently, and what he said I agreed with. It was basically like people should not think of animation as like as a genre for something, right? Like, oh, animation is strictly for kids. Like that's the kids genre kind of thing.
Yep.
It's supposed to be a medium in which you tell a story. So I would
Absolutely.
say like that was always my thought. So if you just like real life anime style, any cartoon style, whatever, depending on the story, I don't care how it's made. So for adult, like quote unquote adult animation, I think it's great. And I've seen a lot of really good stuff. And I think it's definitely could be for kids, it could not be for kids, and any of them are good. So,
Futurama is a little safer, I would say, for kids. There are some adult
humor for sure. Well, especially in this episode, which we
can
see.
Yeah.
But no, there's a lot of good stuff out there that has to be in the cartoon form. And if it's not, then it kind of doesn't get translated as well. And even some other shows that have come out recently that you and I have watched that some of it is good, most of it is good, and then sometimes it's like a little off. But I think that's more so to do with today's
writing style,
nonsensical stuff and the writing,
and the things that come with media.
Right. But I think that animation can be beautiful, and sometimes it can be really, really good. So, but in any case, we have them. Yeah, they found out about the news, and robots are rebelling everywhere. And
there's a little joke here that I like because everyone's against you except for me, the guard raider. Ooh, someone dropped some shiny jewelry down here. Oh, really? Says Amy. Amy, no.
Almost gets her hand chopped off. And then of course Bender arrives and he just states like, yeah, I'm not going to do any work, and he sits in like his sofa area that clearly has his outline as if he does any work anyway, but he just sits there, and his card is like taking on like a Russian proletariat, like, you know, like the working man type of thing. Like, come on, Comrade Bender, we should go outside and like go to the streets. And he's like, oh, is this going to be like peaceful going to the streets? He's like, no, looting and starting a few fires. He's like, yes. So Bender's all about the destruction for it. So he and the greeting card, I think is actually the character's name. So the greeting card leave, and
I actually want to know how they animated the greeting card, because this is still this is still hand animation more or less at this time, right? And the greeting card has it's a greeting card. It has writing on it and everything. So I like to kind of know how they do that, because as a 2D guy, and if there's like a list, like say like you're looking at a map, and they're and they're doing a lot of like folding and stuff like that. It's very technical would be the word to say it. So I'm wondering if they just if they just use a flat image, because it's a card, right? It's literally a rectangle. It's not doing much other than kind of like bobbing. So they might have just moved around the PNG or whatever it was at the time.
I honestly think that's what it is. Is like probably the easiest, because you're right. Like those words don't really ever change, right?
No,
so that's probably what happened.
And this is a time before HD, I think, too, right?
That's
or
true.
Like HD is relatively new. Like, and I'm talking 1080 by 720.
I think they make a joke. Oh, what episode is that? And she says like, oh, I don't believe that you could have like HD TV. Like this doesn't even have HD. Like you can, if you didn't have HD, you couldn't make up this like obscure tattoo I have on my stomach, and it's just a blurred picture, right? That's on H tattoo, but it's blurred to us because we don't have HD TV, so to speak, at that time. I think that's what it is. But it was coming out obviously, otherwise they wouldn't use the term HD, right? High definition.
Yeah.
And also something you had mentioned previously with our episode with Tristan was the wrist machine that Leela has breaks off and rolls away. And I will say a nice little thing about this episode, because I did pay attention mostly, it never returns. So it actually does stay off of Leela's arm up and throughout the entire episode, if I'm not mistaken. So it actually rolled away and stayed away. They made her model slightly.
And it also said maybe you should wash your wrist sometime.
Wash your wrist, and then
and then Leela smells it. It's like, ugh.
Yeah, she smells her own. That's right. So the fun little thing there, and the ship also leaves, so they're completely isolated. Like everything has a machine, so everybody has to be stuck in basically their area, and civilization is collapsing. So Fry says that he could help them. He can do anything, and he's like, all you need is like a can and a trusty Swiss Army knife, and he like tries to open up the can. And he's like
and over
banging
the
on
kid.
it.
Yeah.
He's like, and he fails. He absolutely fails, and he cries. He's like,
I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Well, one of my favorite lines there is like, we didn't need some fancy machine to wash our clothes. In my time, we used a washing machine.
His pride's like oblivious. Exactly. I
Which
love the irony.
Yeah,
Yeah, so good. So meanwhile, robots are destroying the city, probably the world, everywhere on there, and some of my favorite, like, this is just a montage of it, right? So robots everywhere, they're destroying things. One of my favorites is the guy who goes to the bank, the ATM, and he puts in his card and it says, "It's mine now, buddy," and then like locks him out, and then he like turns around to a suicide booth, but the suicide booth's also a robot, so it locks him out. He's like, "No." So I thought that was awesome.
I love that the suicide booth is 25 cents.
It still costs money. I know, right? Capitalist at a peak, right? Like, you to kill yourself, it costs money. And apparently you need to have as we learned in How Hermes Requisitioned Its Groove Back, you need to have a signed document, and it has to be sent in by the bureaucracy. But in any case, mom loves it. Everyone, like, she's super happy that everybody is losing everything to these robots, to her robots, and it all because she got her heart broken. And who did she get her heart broken by? Way back when?
Professor.
Professor Farnsworth. So back when he was working at the Mom's Robot Factory, Mom's Friendly Robot Company, rather. And her sons, for whatever reason, I guess they don't like the idea that she's taking over the world. They don't really actually go into this. Like, they don't really have any fears about getting hurt, right? Because they're with her.
Well,
but
I can't remember.
I guess they don't want society to die, which is good. So it shows that they actually have some good things about them, right?
I don't know, because I think this might have been in the movie, the one, the Dungeons and Dragons one, or something like that, where just like the professor just describes each one, or something. There's so and so,
Walt, who's like the leader among idiots. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and then there's the second child. It was just a squibbling idiot.
Second child, yeah, and he's like,
it was like frightened of everything, right? Or something like that. He's like, I'm sorry. And then there's Igner. Ooh, Igner, the stupid one.
Evil I can handle, but the stupidity. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they all have like a thing. So Walt is obviously the leader. Obviously, I mean, he's the oldest, he's the smartest, but he's also the one that doesn't like. He's the closest to mom without being mom. But this is also his plan, because when they realize it's Farnsworth, because they know where Farnsworth is, and they know his relationship to Fry, obviously, because they're the ones that kidnap Fry. He's the one that kind of looks at Larry, and they both have like this like they think of a plan, and Ignor's the only one that doesn't, right? Because Ignor's stupid, right? Yeah. But for whatever reason, I don't know why Walt and Larry care, because they're safe. They're safe with mom. So I don't know why it's
because they love their mom so much. They want her to be happy. I'm pretty sure the taking over the world part they didn't really care about or acknowledge.
She's heartbroken, so they're trying to make her happy.
All three of them are highly dependent mama boys.
That's true. It's because he even says, like, someday I want to marry a girl like her, or at least LaMarche again. That's him. That's such a good.
He does a good job.
I think is Larry, and then John DiMaggio again for Igna. Yeah. So anyway, the Planet Express crew. Back to the Planet Express crew, and they're all
Fry's
sitting
still
around
banging the soup can on the floor.
Fry's still trying to open that can.
Interesting. Here's a quick thing that I found out about them, because I can't remember when, but I got into like survival stuff at one point, like years and years and years ago. So this is what you could do to save yourself if you're hungry and you have a can of soup but no can opener, and you just like, I don't know how to open this. You literally just take one side of the can and just rub it on concrete or something like that, and it'll take a while to do it, but eventually the tin will rub away, and then you can just kind of poke at the top there, and it'll go down, because how cans are designed. So you can literally just rub away that little lip there. It'll take some time, but will go away, and you can get a can of soup.
Sure. Or if you have a lobster-like alien friend who happens to be with you, you can use him.
Right? Yeah, use your best friend Zoidberg. Yay, I'm helping. Yeah,
exactly.
I'm useful.
So
I'm having a wonderful
time. Yeah, exactly. So Zoidberg opens it up for them finally. He's like, yay. And
Professor reinvents a spear.
Yep. Pointy rock on a stick. And it turns out and it breaks right afterwards, but then who should show up? But go ahead.
I just love the professor when he just creates these little stupid things. Like there's the stick with a rock in it, and then the second movie where he just takes toilet paper rolls and just puts them around the neck that will prevent them from that.
It kind of does for a little while. Like it actually works. I was also thinking in the president's heads, but I don't think it's him. It's Benjamin Franklin that invents the Franklinator, and it kind of reminds me. Obviously, it's like a spear, but it's like
it's such a just like I love it because those inventions are like something like a 5-year-old would make, right. And they're funny and awesome. My favorite thing is the Franklinator because Bender has a shark.
Everybody else has
Fry has a chipmunk.
So he was trying different animals. No, that is great.
The ingenious of this thing is just funny. I don't think I could think of something as stupid funny as that. And like it's just such a passing joke too. Yeah.
Well, as Tristan mentioned last time, it's the absurdity, right? It's like having all this absurdity inside something so easy, but it's just like the pointy rock on a stick. It's like because they're 1,000 years in the future. Obviously, they don't have those anymore. So to him, it's new.
Yeah. There's laser spears probably exist.
Yeah, or a lightsaber or something, right? Like they have those things. Police have them, like those batons that are like basically lightsabers, but they don't burn anything. They just hit some things. So, in any case, the sons arrive, right? And they're
the three mom's sons. Protect the fire.
Right. And so they're there to get the professor, obviously, and then professor explains to everybody why it's so why it's important for them or whatever. And he was dating mom back in the day of working at the Friendly Robot Company and everything.
I will say this though, which visually doesn't make sense. Like when you look at all the clothes of the professor and the crew and stuff like that, they're all like tattered. I don't know how long it's been. We'll say it's been like a day maybe or something like that. Less than a day. It's society's falling apart. Their clothes are tatters. But when the three sons walk in, their clothes are also tattered. It doesn't make sense because they're supposed to be like. Sir, I don't know about that.
So remember, all machines. So this is my head space when this goes there because I wondered that too.
Head canon. Your head canon.
Right? Yeah. But what I'm thinking is because everything is a machine, so nothing can take them there. Nothing can drive them there. They can't drive there. They have to walk there. And honestly, they're afraid of the robots too. Later, they're like when they're trying to get them to the cabin, right? He says like, oh. Like hurry up, like they've already taken over Suffolk, like that one area of New York. So like they're freaking out. So I think what happened as they're traveling from mom's company to their company, they have to go through the streets and they're probably attacked by robots. And so they're tattered and they're trying to get away. So I think that's what it is. That's what I'm thinking. Because you're right. Within the span of a day, they go from this pristine looking area, like their clothing, to like tattered and worn, right? So I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
They were just because society is so far, they were so heavily reliant on just not even day to day, like minute to minute things in life.
Well, they probably were running, and so they're probably getting shot at. They're probably getting cut.
Okay. So traveling in between mom's robots to the Planet Express, they were getting attacked.
And that's the thing. Mom's robot company robots, they're not impervious to it. Only she is, which is interesting. So she doesn't even keep that. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, they're there. The professor explains like. This is the deal. What does he say? Pelvic pinochle or something like. And they're all like, oh. So.
Old people's sex is very gross. Yes.
Yeah. So he explains all this kind of stuff, and I think is it Walt tries to say like, listen, you need to get back together with mom because this is the only way that we can put an end to this. And professor's no, I won't do it because. She's insane. She's crazy. Why would I do this kind of stuff? And then Leela figures out after they start watching another news report, it's not necessarily about getting back together with mom. He just needs to seduce her enough to get to her, to her controller, which is she happens to keep in her bra. Which Larry's like, bra, like even like he just can't say the word. Oh. The
middle child, right?
The amount of Arrested Development in those boys is hilarious. So, anyway,
you're technically a middle child, aren't you?
I am technically a middle child. So, yeah. But the sniveling middle child, it's different because the sniveling middle child is typically the one because they never got the same amount of attention because they always had a sibling with them.
Yeah. There's an older sibling and a younger sibling. Yeah.
Right, but the younger sibling then took all the attention they would have had because they're no longer the youngest, right? So that's why they're like the typical one for it. But I don't know how much I buy that. It could be a thing, but for most
that's
people,
exactly what a middle child would say about middle children theories.
I mean, some of us leave and make our own life. We don't need our parents' love all the time, right? But anyway, I digress.
We're gonna work some things out here, listeners, with Anthony.
Maybe this is
it's
how
not
we
your
do it.
fault, man. It's not your fault.
Futurama.
It's not your fault.
So Walt makes a plan to have them move to her cabin, because that's where they're going to move her, just to be safer, right? Somewhere in the Bronx, apparently, but it's like in the forested area. I actually don't know how foresty Bronx is, but whatever the case. But they need to get there. So the boys are going to move Mom there on their own, and then the rest of the Planet Express crew is going to take the professor there. But they don't have a way to get there. So Fry comes up with yet another old invention that hasn't been around, apparently, even though I'm pretty sure they've mentioned this word before. The wheel. And he reinvents the wheel, but not like a wheel. It's like too much of an oval.
Yeah.
So Leela even says, like, wouldn't it be better if it was round? And he like gets defensive.
It's my invention.
But he's like, now we need somebody to pull it. There's a part of me that kind of wishes they got Zoidberg to do it. Because I think that would have been funnier. But it's Fry, obviously. He's pulling his own invention. And Leela even has a whip when she's whipping him. And he brings them all to the Bronx cabin, which they're on the outside, and the professor comes out. I also want to mention a hilarious little thing here when Leela convinces him all you have to do is get to second base. And he says, well, if Cup of Feel, I must, Cup of Feel, I shall. And he rips his shirt. There's like a gold
medallion
thing. And he's like, it looks super cool. I'm like,
and Ignor's going,
but I love Professor when he just becomes this like badass guy, like whenever he's like has like thug life written on his back, or when he's like the Professor gangster thing. Like I love when he does this kind of stuff. It's hilarious.
The professor has such a weird background too, because like
mentioned before, right? Yeah.
I think we've seen multiple different versions of his past. Like at one point he was like a huge hippie. Like when they do when the professor is mad and he's like just old. So they take him to like a tar, and then he becomes like younger and younger. He becomes a hippie, and he hates hippies too. So it's very funny.
Yes. No, he's definitely gone through the ages, right? Like he's in that kind of thing during that episode, right? And then at the end, he's like becomes even older. To his credit, he's like, "Yes, I'm older."
Clicks his heels. Look, I only broke one heel.
Right. So they get to the cabin, and the professor meets up with Mom. He knocks on the door. He brings her favorite roses and puts his foot in the door. She hates that he's there. She tries to slam on it and,
slam the door, but his foot's in there. And he's, ow, 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 ow. Why does my foot hurt?
And then as they're doing, like Billy West making those noises for like the 10 seconds that it is, and then it cuts over to like the rest of the crew and they're all watching. And Zoidberg's like, is this what human mating is? Because I like it. And it's like you still hear the professor making those noises. I think it's so funny.
I do like that too. Yeah, Zoidberg. Is this human mating? Because I like. Does his fin go up?
It doesn't. No.
No, it doesn't.
No. That would have been too. I think that would have been too perfect. But yeah, no. I guess they didn't animate it in. That's okay. Any case, he still convinces her. The professor still.
He gave her the flowers, and she's like, "Oh, daffodils. You still remember? You remember after all these years?" And he's like, "Why does my foot here? Your favorite what?"
Yeah.
Huh?
She invites him in, closes the door. They're like, "Yes, okay. Step one is done," right? So he gets in there and they have this conversation, and then they end up just throwing insults at each other when they find out more about what they've been doing the past 70 years. And then due to the heat of the romance and the tension and everything, they just get into it, and the professor fumbles at first, but he does get the bra off, but then he's completely seduced by her and he just end up doing the do. So Ben, professor and Mom are there, and the crew and the sons.
Oh my God!
Inside.
Yeah. Tress MacNeille and Billy West doing those sounds there too.
And old people, it's just hilarious. So the rest of them are just outside waiting, and they're like, "This should not be taking this long. Like this is crazy." But then the robots are coming. So they run into the cabin and they start looking for them, and they're like, okay, where are they? And Fry, I think, makes a mention about like elephant skin rugs because they're so wrinkly, but it's actually them. And they're like, "Oh my God, the robots are coming. We got to go." And she's like, "Okay, let's try and find mommy's bra or whatever." And Bender shows up, blink of time, and he's still looting and robbing and all this kind of stuff. And it's not until his gift card friend, or greeting card, I should say, says like, "Oh yeah, you can't drink human liquor. That's like the invention of the human bourgeoisie. Like it's all this stuff." And Bender's like, "Nope." And he rips her up, tosses her away. Oh, das Vergangen. What is this? What's a Russian? Das Vergangen, comrade or something. And so,
goodbye, comrade, basically in
goodbye,
in Russian.
comrade in Russian. And then throws it away. And then mom orders him to get her a bra. The fan's acting up, so he fights with the fan a bit, gets the bra off. She gets it, and then turns remote control back to serve humans, I guess.
Yeah, it was a slur machine going death to all humans, and then she would hit the button, free soda for all humans.
Like, yay, right. And at the end of all this, they're all like, "Oh yay, civilization saved, we're all saved." And then stupid Amy, has to be Amy, she says, "Good job, Professor, the plan worked." And so mom hears this and she realizes it was all a ruse, and she hates the professor again and kicks him out. So even though he wanted to be back with her, because maybe there was some kind of rekindled relationship, but he did say something about wanting to breed like albino screaming gorillas to like shout from the rooftops, which he does, right? That's the last part of this episode.
Yeah.
And everything goes back to normal.
Love, mom. Well, is that her name, or is it just literally her name is Mom?
That's so. You know what?
I never looked into that
too. She does not have a full name, as far as I'm aware. I'm pretty sure it's just Mom. Yeah. Oh no, Carol. Her name is Carol.
Yes, right. Zoidberg said it. Zoidberg said it in that one episode
yeah. But I guess Oh, she calls him Hubert, so I don't know why he doesn't call her Mom. Maybe just because that's her working name. They just go with that. So, but in any case, that is Mother's Day. Solid episode. Very good. Very good cast. I love Mom as a villain. I love her as a character. Your favorite scene, favorite joke.
God. There's a few of them, but I can't remember now. Just we talked about them, and I just like they're all good. They're all good.
My favorite is definitely like my favorite scene rather is definitely the professor getting his foot like hit on the door, and then the voice and the sound effect. It's just my favorite. I don't know, my favorite joke.
There's a lot of like I think when we look at this, like there's like oh crap, we only have 15 minutes of actual story. We need to fill it in. So let's slam the door on his foot 5 more times and just toot kind of thing. Right. Like I honest to God don't know how they would do that. And maybe it's like, you know what, we have time to do this, so let's make it five slams instead of 2.
Just make it, and then
I have no idea.
Zoidberg can say something, which is also another Billy West character. But somebody can say. I'm gonna go with like the janitor being like my favorite joke, like he and Fry having that little banter there. I don't know why, that's so funny. Every time I see it, I just laugh. I'm like, it's like, yeah, I'm a wax robot. What's it to you? It's like, there's something wrong with that, or does that confuse you? And then Fry like
that was pretty good. But I think I'm gonna go with nobody else look in this mirror. I think I like that one. That one's my favorite because it just proves how selfish Bender is. Because he's just like that. And then like I love the way his eyes look over after his mother says, "I love each and one of you the same." He's like,
MVP
probably Fry for the wheel. And the can.
Fair enough. Hungry. Fry for the wheel and the can, just for those two. And
that's really about it, right?
I'll give you the janitor one too. Yeah. I'm gonna go with Mom. I think Mom is.
She was especially good.
Like as soon as it cuts from that scene you just mentioned with like nobody else look in this mirror thing, like I love all my robots equally, and then it's like, God, these robots make me sick to my ass. Like I love it. I love her quotes. I think she's so great. So I guess that's Mother's Day. Any last minute things for this episode?
No, not really. There's a couple animation things I really liked. Like one of the times when she slaps Larry, it really popped out to me, and I actually had to rewatch it a couple times. Unfortunately, the program I use to watch it's just like your average Windows program to watch this. It doesn't do frame by frame. And I don't think I could find this on the internet on YouTube very easily, which you can frame by frame on YouTube if you use the comma and period. But sometimes people use different frame rates. Like animation is strictly on 24, and there'll be terms they say, oh, put it on 2s, which means every other frame, which technically means 12 frames a second, but whatever. And there's just one time she slapped him, and it just looked very cool. Like they actually had like an animator who had passion for that scene. It's like, I got some extra
Is it
stuff.
the scene where he says like, "Oh, you're not really a cruel woman, Mom," and then like she slaps him in the middle? Is that scene? Like she only slaps just him, right?
Yeah. Well,
Like
for
really,
some reason,
really hard?
Larry's the one that always gets slapped. I don't know why.
Because he's the one that's always sniveling up. I think she respects Walt. She hates Larry, and then Ignor is just kind of in her mind or barely in her mind, because she even says in the future, like, she flipped a coin,
Mom, you're
right?
not crabbing.
Yeah.
Grab it in, eh? And the way that she slaps him, it's actually very cool. I really wish I could frame by frame that just to look at it some more.
Yeah, his face like stretches out and comes back.
Right?
No, I noticed that too. Like if you look slap.
If you look at older animation, there's the 9 Old Men. They worked for Disney on like the oh crap, I can't remember the things now. But it was before the Great Mouse Detective, that era, like Jungle Book and all that stuff. So that's when they created like the 12 rules of animation. I can't remember now. I should know this stuff. But like there's all these things like squash and stretch, and there's supposed to be weight and stuff like that. And when you see stuff that like stretch and stuff, like Looney Tunes was really good at this and stuff like that, especially the extremes. You don't see that much in modern day stuff. Like Rick and Morty, I don't really call that an animation show. It's an animated show, but it's not really animation, so to speak. It's more the medium kind of thing, right? Okay. If you were to do Rick and Morty in real life, it would cost you a lot of money with digital effects and stuff like that. But as a cartoon, it's okay, kind of thing. But just you don't see animation for animation's sake anymore. And there's very few animators out there who I would say have the chops to do animation. Mind you, I'm an animator. I just do what I'm told, more or less, when I have a job, and stuff. But one of the best ones, I would say that I didn't personally get to meet him, but as a class we got to Skype him. His name was James Baxter. Okay. Now I could probably tell you this scene from Beauty and the Beast, and you go, oh yeah, I remember that scene. It was the scene where Beauty and the Beast were dancing with each other in the library, and it's all
the main scene from the trailer.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
If you were to break that down, the camera is spinning around them. You can't do that with 2D. Yeah, but it's not. It's not. Right. Technically,
yes, it looks like it is.
Because if you look at the background of that, I think it was not the first time, but one of the first main times where they started using CGI 3D backgrounds.
Sure.
But if you look at them dancing, they're spinning around each other while the camera's spinning. The insaneness of technicality and just artsmanship for this scene is one of the best ever, which is why I personally believe, and this is the only animated movie to ever get this nomination, was for Best Picture. It didn't win, unfortunately, but it's the only animated feature film to ever get nominated for Best Picture, which is for the best. And this is at the time when the academies, in my opinion, were actually worth it. Nowadays there's just participation
now, but it used to be about movies and film and actually what people did.
Yes.
But, okay, that's interesting.
It was artsy fartsy, as I like to call it, but now it's not artsy fartsy. It's you deserve one because of your skin color or sexual orientation or identity. Yeah. It's just can we use good things great things deserve greatness, not because of the people behind them. Which maybe, yes, some people are awesome and deserve things, but things need to be given awards because they're the best.
If they've done good things, awesome things, they should be recognized for doing the awesome things, right?
Yeah.
No, I agree. No, it's interesting though about
animation's awesome as well.
But and this episode definitely has a lot of really good. I mean, even seeing like a lot of the robot models and seeing like a lot of the characters and everything. I thought
character designs are pretty cool. Yes, yeah. I really do get technical about that, because when people, I love that animation. Oh, what do you love about it? Oh, I love how this person looks. Like, that's not animation, that is design, character design. And they just go like, whatever. It's like, okay, you don't understand. You don't understand.
But you're also very pedantic when it comes to things like that.
Well,
right? So this
one I'd say it was one of the hills I would die on, kind of thing. Right. But like
fair enough.
Because there is a difference, because people
too.
Yeah, because like people are like, oh, I love the way it looks. Like, cool, but do you like the way it moves? No. Well, the way it moves is animation. You're animating.
Right.
Character design. There's many things out there that have awesome character designs.
Yeah. And there's lots of design. Like you could say a design for a vehicle or something, right? Yeah.
Yes.
That's very fair. Well, with that then, I guess we'll conclude Mother's Day of this, and then we'll Actually, next episode, you and I hopefully will be joined again by our both of our previous guest stars for all of season 2 for the finale, episode 20, Anthology of Interest #1. But yeah, hopefully see you all there, and see you there, Mitchell. Thanks again for joining me. I'll see you later.
Yeah.